Ang susunod na programa ay rated G. Ito ay pwede sa lahat ng manonood.
Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, world leaders, ambassadors, and distinguished delegates. 1 year ago, I stood before you for the first time in this grand hall. I addressed the threats facing our world, and I presented a vision to achieve a brighter future for all of humanity. Today I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Board game? Hey, listen.
America's economy is booming like never before. Since my election, we've added $10 trillion in wealth. The stock market is at an all-time high in history, and jobless claims are at a 50-year low. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all achieved their lowest levels ever recorded. We've added more than 4 million new jobs, including 500,000 manufacturing jobs. We have passed the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We've started the construction of a major border wall, and we have greatly strengthened border security. We have secured record funding for our military, $700 billion this year and $716 billion next year. Our military will soon be more powerful than it has ever been before. In other words, the United States is stronger, safer, and a richer country than it was when I assumed office less than 2 years ago. We are standing up for America and for the American people. And we are also standing up for the world. This is great news for our citizens and for peace-loving people everywhere. We believe that when nations respect the rights of their neighbors and defend the interests of their people, they can better work together to secure the blessings of safety, prosperity, and peace. Each of us here today is the emissary of a distinct culture, a rich history, and a people bound together by ties of memory, tradition, and the values that make our homelands like nowhere else on earth. That is why America will always choose independence and cooperation over global governance, control, and domination. I honor the right of every nation in this room to pursue its own customs, beliefs, and traditions. The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return. From Warsaw to Brussels to Tokyo to Singapore, it has been my highest honor to represent the United States abroad. I have forged close relationships and friendships and strong partnerships with the leaders of many nations in this room, and our approach has always yielded incredible change. With support from many countries here today, we have engaged with North Korea to replace the specter of conflict with a bold and new push for peace. In June, I traveled to Singapore to meet face-to-face with North Korea's leader, Chairman Kim Jong-un. We had highly productive conversations and meetings, and we agreed that it was in both countries' interest to pursue the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Since that meeting, we have already seen a number of encouraging measures that few could have imagined only a short time ago. The missiles and rockets are no longer flying in every direction. Nuclear testing has stopped. Some military facilities are already being dismantled. Our hostages have been released, and as promised, the remains of our fallen heroes are being returned home to lay at rest in American soil. I would like to thank Chairman Kim for his courage and for the steps he has taken, though much work remains to be done. The sanctions will stay in place until denuclearization occurs. I also want to thank the many member states who helped us reach this moment, a moment that is actually far greater than people would understand, far greater. But for also their support and the critical support that we will all need going forward. Special thanks to President Moon of South Korea, Prime Minister Abe of Japan, and President Xi of China. In the Middle East, our new approach is also yielding great strides and very historic change. Following my trip to Saudi Arabia last year, the Gulf countries opened a new center to target terrorist financing. They are enforcing new sanctions, working with us to identify and track terrorist networks, and taking more responsibility for fighting terrorism and extremism in their own region. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar have pledged billions of dollars to aid the people of Syria and Yemen, and they are pursuing multiple avenues to ending Yemen's horrible, horrific civil war. Ultimately, it is up to the nations of the region to decide what kind of future they want for themselves and their children. For that reason, the United States is working with the Gulf Cooperation Council, Jordan, and Egypt to establish a regional strategic alliance so that Middle Eastern nations can advance prosperity, stability, and security across their home region. Thanks to the United States military and our partnership with many of your nations, I am pleased to report that the bloodthirsty killers known as ISIS have been driven out from the territory they once held in Iraq and Syria. We will continue to work with friends and allies to deny radical Islamic terrorists any funding, territory, or support, or any means of infiltrating our borders. The ongoing tragedy in Syria is heartbreaking. Our shared goals must be the de-escalation of military conflict, along with a political solution that honors the will of the Syrian people. In this vein, we urge the United Nations-led peace process be reinvigorated. But rest assured, the United States will respond if chemical weapons are deployed by the Assad regime. I commend the people of Jordan and other neighboring countries for hosting refugees from this very brutal civil war. As we see in Jordan, the most compassionate policy is to place refugees as close to their homes as possible, to ease their eventual return, to be part of the rebuilding process. This approach also stretches finite resources to help far more people, increasing the impact of every dollar spent. Every solution to the humanitarian crisis in Syria must also include a strategy to address the brutal regime that has fueled and financed it. The corrupt dictatorship in Iran. Iran's leaders sow chaos, death, and destruction. They do not respect their neighbors or borders or the sovereign rights of nations. Instead, Iran's leaders plunder the nation's resources to enrich themselves and to spread mayhem across the Middle East and far beyond. The Iranian people are rightly outraged that their leaders have embezzled billions of dollars from Iran's treasury, seized valuable portions of the economy, and looted the people's religious endowments, all to line their own pockets and send their proxies to wage war. Not good. Iran's neighbors have paid a heavy toll for the region's agenda of aggression and expansion. That is why so many countries in the Middle East strongly supported my decision to withdraw the United States from the horrible 2015 Iran nuclear deal and reimpose nuclear sanctions. The Iran deal was a windfall for Iran's leaders. In the years since the deal was reached, Iran's military budget grew nearly 40%. The dictatorship used the funds to build
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, uy! Yum Burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum! Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Nak, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
build nuclear-capable missiles, increase internal repression, finance terrorism, and fund havoc and slaughter in Syria and Yemen. The United States has launched a campaign of economic pressure to deny the regime the funds it needs to advance its bloody agenda. Last month, we began reimposing hard-hitting nuclear sanctions that have been lifted under the Iran deal. Additional sanctions will resume November 5th, and more will follow. And we are working with countries that import Iranian crude oil to cut their purchases substantially. We cannot allow the world's leading sponsor of terrorism to possess the planet's most dangerous weapons. We cannot allow a regime that chants death to America and that threatens Israel with annihilation to possess the means to deliver a nuclear warhead to any city on earth. Just can't do it. We ask all nations to isolate Iran's regime as long as its aggression continues. And we ask all nations to support Iran's people as they struggle to reclaim their religious and righteous destiny. This year, we also took another significant step forward in the Middle East in recognition of every sovereign state to determine its own capital, I move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. The United States is committed to a future of peace and stability in the region, including peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. That aim is advanced, not harmed, by acknowledging the obvious facts. America's policy of principled realism means we will not be held hostage to old dogmas, discredited ideologies, and so-called experts who have been proven wrong over the years, time and time again. This is true not only in matters of peace, but in matters of prosperity. We believe that trade must be fair and reciprocal. The United States will not be taken advantage of any longer. For decades, the United States opened its economy, the largest by far on earth, with few conditions. We allowed foreign goods from all over the world to flow freely across our borders. Yet, other countries did not grant us fair and reciprocal access to their markets in return. Even worse, some countries abused their openness to dump their products, subsidize their goods, target our industries, and manipulate their currencies to gain unfair advantage over our country. As a result, our trade deficit ballooned to nearly $800 billion a year. For this reason, we are systematically renegotiating broken and bad trade deals. Last month, we announced a groundbreaking U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. And just yesterday, I stood with President Moon to announce the successful completion of the brand new U.S.-Korea trade deal. And this is just the beginning. Many nations in this hall will agree that the world trading system is in dire need of change. For example, countries were admitted to the World Trade Organization that violate every single principle on which the organization is based. While the United States and many other nations play by the rules, these countries use government-run industrial planning and state-owned enterprises to rig the system in their favor. They engage in relentless product dumping, forced technology transfer, and the theft of intellectual property. The United States lost over 3 million manufacturing jobs, nearly a quarter of all steel jobs, and 60,000 factories after China joined the WTO. And we have racked up $13 trillion in trade deficits over the last 2 decades. But those days are over. We will no longer tolerate such abuse. We will not allow our workers to be victimized, our companies to be cheated, and our wealth to be plundered and transferred. America will never apologize for protecting its citizens. The United States has just announced tariffs on another $200 billion in Chinese-made goods, for a total so far of $250 billion. I have great respect and affection for my friend, President Xi, but I have made clear our trade imbalance is just not acceptable. China's market distortions and the way they deal cannot be tolerated. As my administration has demonstrated, America will always act in our national interests. I spoke before this body last year and warned that the UN Human Rights Council had become a grave embarrassment to this institution, shielding egregious human rights abuses while bashing America and its many friends. Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform, but despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all is taken. So the United States took the only responsible course. We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy. America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governments, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. In America, we believe strongly in energy security for ourselves and for our allies. We have become the largest energy producer anywhere on the face of the earth. The United States stands ready to export
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My yum burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, uy! Yum burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, yum burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum! Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Nak, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
our abundant, affordable supply of oil, clean coal, and natural gas. OPEC and OPEC nations are, as usual, ripping off the rest of the world. And I don't like it. Nobody should like it. We defend many of these nations for nothing. And then they take advantage of us by giving us high oil prices. Not good. We want them to stop raising prices. We want them to start lowering prices. And they must contribute substantially to military protection from now on. We are not going to put up with it, these horrible prices, much longer. Reliance on a single foreign supplier can leave a nation vulnerable to extortion and intimidation. That is why we congratulate European states such as Poland for leading the construction of a Baltic pipeline so that nations are not dependent on Russia to meet their energy needs. Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign powers. It has been the formal policy of our country since President Monroe that we reject the interference of foreign nations in this hemisphere and in our own affairs. The United States has recently strengthened our laws to better screen foreign investments in our country for national security threats. And we welcome cooperation with countries in this region and around the world that wish to do the same. You need to do it for your own protection. The United States is also working with partners in Latin America to confront threats to sovereignty from uncontrolled migration. Tolerance for human struggling and human smuggling and trafficking is not humane. It's a horrible thing that's going on at levels that nobody has ever seen before. It's very, very cruel. Illegal immigration funds, criminal networks, ruthless gangs, and the flow of deadly drugs. Illegal immigration exploits vulnerable populations, hurts hard-working citizens, and has produced a vicious cycle of crime, violence, and poverty. Only by upholding national borders, destroying criminal gangs, can we break this cycle and establish a real foundation for prosperity. We recognize the right of every nation in this room to set its own immigration policy in accordance with its national interests, just as we ask other countries to respect our own right to do the same, which we are doing. That is one reason the United States will not participate in the new global compact on migration. Migration should not be governed by an international body unaccountable to our own citizens. Ultimately, the only long-term solution to the migration crisis is to help people build more hopeful futures in their home countries. Make their countries great again. Currently, we are witnessing a human tragedy, as an example, in Venezuela. More than 2 million people have fled the anguish inflicted by the socialist Maduro regime and its Cuban sponsors. Not long ago, Venezuela was one of the richest countries on earth. Today, socialism has bankrupted the oil-rich nation and driven its people into abject poverty. Virtually everywhere socialism or communism has been tried, it has produced suffering, corruption, and decay. Socialism's thirst for power leads to expansion, incursion, and oppression. All nations of the world should resist socialism and the misery that it brings to everyone. In that spirit, we ask the nations gathered here to join us in calling for the restoration of democracy in Venezuela. Today we are announcing additional sanctions against the repressive regime, targeting Maduro's inner circle and close advisors. We are grateful for all of the work the United Nations does around the world to help people build better lives for themselves and their families. The United States is the world's largest giver in the world by far of foreign aid, but few give anything to us. That is why we are taking a hard look at U.S. foreign assistance that will be headed up by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. We will examine what is working, what is not working, and whether the countries who receive our dollars and our protection also have our interests at heart. Moving forward, we are only going to give foreign aid to those who respect us and, frankly, are our friends. And we expect other countries to pay their fair share for the cost of their defense. The United States is committed to making the United Nations more effective and accountable. I have said many times that the United Nations has unlimited potential. As part of our reform effort, I have told our negotiators that the United States will not pay more than 25% of the UN peacekeeping budget. This will encourage other countries to step up, get involved, and also share in this very large burden. And we are working to shift more of our funding from assessed contributions to voluntary, so that we can target American resources to the programs with the best record of success. Only when each of us does our part and contributes our share can we realize the UN's highest aspirations. We must pursue peace without fear, hope without despair, and security without apology. Looking around this hall, where so much history has transpired, we think of the many before us who have come here to address the challenges of their nations and of their times. And our thoughts turn to the same question that ran through all their speeches and resolutions, through every word and every hope. It is the question of what kind of world will we leave for our children, and what kind of nations they will inherit. The dreams that fill this hall today are as diverse as the people who have stood at this podium.
Hello, you're on the line.
And as varied as the countries represented right here in this body are. It really is something. It really is great, great history. There is India, a free society over 1 billion people, successfully lifting countless millions out of poverty and into the middle class. There is Saudi Arabia, where King Salman and the Crown Prince
on the conspiracy line, caller,
gold.
you're in Area 53.
Do not use fluoride. It's evil. It made me kill my doctor.
Why would we worry about a chemical that the government puts into the water? Animals can now be trained to fly, including several species of bird. Think about the military applications. Hello, caller.
Hi, my name's Manuel. I'm really worried about hackers setting a nuclear bomb after me. You know, through the phone. Do you think they could pinpoint my location?
Look, it's good for the economy to live in constant fear. I mean, the phone company, they have your name on the bill. They know your number. How do you feel about that?
I knew it.
Hello, Julie from Liberty City. You're on the line.
A cowboy ghost has been haunting my house.
I want you to take off your blouse. Stand at the window, stand there for hours each night. Lure him in. Trapping rogue spirits is dangerous work, especially topless. Take lots of photographs. All right, who's got a theory for me? Next.
Hey man, love the show, but when are you guys gonna start seeing the bigger picture? We're being lied to, man. And guys like you don't help much, you know? You're virtually one of them. Soon you know what I'm talking about.
If people could please just attempt to make sense, that's all I'm asking. Last night, as I was laying in my pod meditating, and it occurred to me, why are you even listening to me? Turn off all electrical devices, including your radio. Hector and San Garcia, why are you still listening?
Because I was hoping.
Seriously think. Can it be real? Can it be false? We'll see you next time in Area 53. Be careful out there, wherever you are.
That was Area 53. We're sorry.
All the news the government wants you to hear. WCTR.
You're good, but let's be honest, you're not perfect. And that's not enough. We strive to be number one in every sports, politics, economics, homelessness, degeneracy. Los Santos is the home of beauty and glamour for the whole world. Live up to society's expectations. Play your part. Your body is a work of art. Don't leave it half-finished. It's time for your creative plastic surgery. We'll make your face as tight as a drum. We'll suck fat out of your body with an industrial pump. Increase your confidence with fake breasts to ensure... breasts. Can you imagine how wild they'll go for udders?
My wife was complaining that she did all the work. Carried the baby for 9 months, had painful labor. It's not fair to her my nipples are useless. That's why I had creative plastic surgery. I got a set of udders installed. Now my son can suck my udders while I'm watching the game. The fellas at the bar love them too.
New reforms. There is Israel proudly celebrating its 70th anniversary as a thriving democracy in the Holy Land. In Poland, the great people are standing up for their independence, their security, and their sovereignty. Many countries are pursuing their own unique visions, building their own hopeful futures, and chasing their own wonderful dreams of destiny, of legacy, and of a home.
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang,
Uy! Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum! Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sarap! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang,
Uy! Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum! Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sarap! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Na, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito?
Na, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito. Kasi, lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
The whole world is richer. Humanity is better. Because of this beautiful constellation of nations, each very special, each very unique, and each shining brightly in its part of the world. In each one, we see awesome promise of a people bound together by a shared past and working toward a common future. As for Americans, we know what kind of future we want for ourselves. We know what kind of a nation America must always be. In America, we believe in the majesty of freedom and the dignity of the individual. We believe in self-government and the rule of law.
TR.
I'm hungry for something different.
Zebra Bar. Get the fever.
Ist для всех нас, для всех.
And we prize the culture that sustains our liberty, a culture built on strong
Which side
fairness.
will you try first? Zebra Bar. It satisfies your exotic cravings, whatever they are. Put it in your mouth.
It's a favorite show with serial killers and stalkers. Lonely Heart.
We can't talk right. I love you all. I'm your host, Christy McIntyre. Let's go to the phones.
Hi, Christy. My wife and I love your show.
Deep faith and fierce independence.
I'm gonna put in some work.
We celebrate our heroes.
We got some work to put in. You down?
We treasure our traditions.
Homie, let's roll on some busters.
And above all,
you wanna
we
roll
love
with
our
me?
country. Inside everyone in this great chamber today, and everyone listening all around the
I know he
globe.
beats me every day.
Stay with him, honey. After all, you're only lonely when you're alone.
But he keeps threatening to kill me.
Jenny, do you know the meaning of the phrase homewrecker?
No.
What about selfish bitch? I want to bring people together, not break them apart. Who's on the phones? It's a big, lonely state out there.
Teflon, Mary. I'm watching you right now in the shower.
Notice how many lonely hearts are lunatics? You wonder why, or perhaps not. Brian from Las Venturas.
Hey, dude, my name's Brian. I'm calling from Las Venturas. I want to talk about my heart.
Why do men just repeat back what you say and never listen? Are you brain dead, Brian?
Oh, actually, it's ironic that you say that. It's because my wife's been brain dead for years now.
Oh, so sorry. I seemed all insensitive for a second there, possibly ruining my career. Would it help if I slept with you?
Probably not, dude, though. She wouldn't even notice. I mean, I get away with it all the time now. Even after I did it with her sister. Actually, our relationship is better than ever.
Is the heart of a patriot that feels the same powerful love for your nation, the same intense loyalty to your homeland.
An American soldier. Culmination of 50 years of hard work on both sides to address the painful legacies of war and to choose to work together toward peace and a better future. Nothing about that journey was inevitable. For decades, it would have been unthinkable for an American president to stand in Hanoi alongside a Vietnamese leader and announce a mutual commitment the highest level of country's partnership. So it's a powerful
It works
reminder
at all. Is anyone here
that our
suffering?
history need
I want
not
pain,
dictate our
misery,
future.
desolation, all the important things.
With the concerted leadership,
I'm a stalker.
careful effort,
That's really
adversaries
beautiful. Tell
can
everyone about it.
become
My
partners.
man, well, I call him that.
Overwhelming
even though he's broken off all
challenges
contact
can be
and is married to
resolved.
someone else. I killed the gazelle
deep wounds
and sent its heart to him in an
can
envelope.
heal.
He liked it so much.
So
told
let
the
us never
police
forget
and
that.
even the newspapers.
We
Then
choose
I
to
burnt
stand
down his
together and
business,
recognize the
now I
common
have a
hopes that
special
bind all
surprise for him.
humanity.
Ah, you have a great
hold
ring.
our hands
Isn't
with
that
power,
really
not power.
beautiful? That's all
Bend
we
that
have
arc
time
of
for.
history.
If your heart is lonely,
fellow
listen
leaders,
to other losers and you
gather
won't be
once
lonely
more
anymore.
in the reflection
You'll
point
want to
of
spend the
history.
rest of your life in
With the eyes of
isolation,
the world
away from
upon
people,
all
which
of
is
you, all
progress
of us.
after all. Until next time.
President of the United States.
I hope you enjoyed Lonely Hearts.
I
It's always
understand
fun
the
to
duty
laugh
my
at other
country
people's
has
misery, isn't it?
Opinions are free, which is why we're
To
here.
work as countries in every
It's
region,
news and talk that our sponsors
them
agree
in
on.
common cause.
WCTR.
to join together with partners We share a common vision of the future of the world.
Look like we're going to another funeral.
For our children.
You teach your children a lot of good American values, but have you taught them how to have fun? For family entertainment that doesn't stop, head on over to the Starfish Resort and Casino in Las Venturas. You deserve this kind of fun. Water slides, shooting range, and the kids love the Giggle Dome. Plus, we've got the hottest gaming in town. Nobody offers you more gaming value, and you'll teach the kids some important
Hungry. And everyone has access to quality health care. We're workers. We're empowered.
Time is meaningless in the land of tomorrow. It's the Starfish Resort and Casino Hotel in Las Venturas. Mom can go all night on the One-Armed Bandits while the kids visit the Little Tykes Pawn Shop.
How'd you do, Charisse? I busted myself and sold a kidney.
That's my girl.
Share the love with your family, the love of money, and the Starfish Resort and Casino has the best buffet in Las Venturas, featuring our world-famous bacon trough. The Starfish Resort and Casino. This kind of fun should be illegal.
Up next, it's Area 53 and Marvin Trill broadcasting live from his trailer in the desert.
Found in space, is it really a planet or a decoy put up to confuse us? Ghosts, time travel, and the flushing toilet. Which way did Newton's toilet spiral? And finally, are women made from sand? We explore deeper and get to the truth. I'm Marvin Trill. This is Area 53. Hello, you're on the line.
Yeah, hi. I'm a truck driver and listen to your show all the time. I see a lot of unexplained phenomena out there, especially in restrooms. I agree with you about the moon. We never landed on the moon. It's such a good fake.
Remember, the Russians, our archenemy still, I might add, them and the Australians and some species of dog, they beat us into space.
The only thing the Russians are shooting at is...
We got some work to put in. You down? You wanna roll with me? Come on, dude, roll with me. You gonna represent the set now, homie?
And our
I'm
environment
gonna put in
is
some
protected.
work. You down?
We're entrepreneurs and innovators everywhere. Can access opportunity everywhere.
Several species of bird. Think about the military applications. Hello, caller.
Hi, my name's Emmanuel. I'm really worried about hackers sending a nuclear bomb after me, you know, through the phones. Do you think they can pinpoint my location?
Look, it's good for the economy to live in constant fear. I mean, the phone company, they have your name on the bill. They know your number. How do you feel about that?
I knew it.
Hello, Julie from Liberty City. You're on the line.
A cowboy ghost has been haunting my house.
I want you to take off your blouse. Stand at the window, stand there for hours each night. Lure him in. Trapping rogue spirits is dangerous work, especially topless. Take lots of photographs. All right, who's got a theory for me? Next.
Hey man, love the show, but when are you guys gonna start seeing the bigger picture? We're being lied to, man. And guys like you don't help much, you know? You're virtually one of them. Soon you'll know what I'm talking about.
If people could please just attempt to make sense, that's all I...
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My yum burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, Uy! Yum burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum!
Chicken hotdog, much malaki, much malaki. Chicken hotdog, much juicier, much crispier. So we love so much malaki. Chicken hotdog.
Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Na, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
Where conflicts are resolved peacefully, countries can chart their own course. The United States seeks a more secure, more prosperous, more equitable world for all people, because we know our future is bound to yours. Let me repeat that again. We know our future is bound to yours. And no nation can meet the challenges of today alone. The generations that preceded us organized this body, the United Nations, and built international financial institutions and multilateral and regional bodies to help take on the challenges of their time. It wasn't always perfect. But working together, the world made some remarkable and undeniable progress that improved the lives of all people. We avoided the renewal of global conflict while lifting more than 1 billion people out of extreme poverty. We together expanded access to education for millions of children. We saved tens of millions of lives that would have otherwise been lost to preventable and treatable diseases like measles, malaria, tuberculosis. HIV/AIDS infections and deaths plummeted, in no small part because of PEPFAR's work in more than 55 countries, saving more than 25 million lives. It's a profound testament to what we can achieve when we act together, when we take on tough challenges, and an admonition for all of us to urgently accelerate our progress so that no one's left behind, because too many people are being left behind. The institutions we built together at the end of the Second World War are an enduring bedrock of our progress, and the United States is committed to sustaining them. And this year, we're proud to rejoin UNESCO. We also recognize that to meet the new challenges of our decades-old institutions and approaches, they must be updated to keep peace with the world. We have to bring in more leadership and capability that exists everywhere, especially from regions that had not always been fully included. We have to grapple with the challenges that are more connected and more complex. And we have to make sure we're delivering for people everywhere, not just somewhere, everywhere. Simply put, the 21st century results are badly needed. They're needed.
Actively culling the population. So what I'm proposing is a change in the proposition. Let people smoke, but make cigarettes much cheaper and force everyone to smoke. That way we weed out the weak, make a lot of money in tax.
We gonna roll, homie, or what? Homie, let's roll on some busters. You wanna roll with me? Families for life, homie, you down? We got some work to put in, you down?
Slow it down, man. Hey.
Makes me feel a lot better about myself. Have you got a question?
Yeah, I got corpses from 15 illegal immigrants in my yard. I killed them all myself with my bare hands. Could I get a tax break for all this unpaid work?
Good question. I would certainly hope so. Ask your accountant if you can register them as dependents. Then hide most of your net worth offshore in a complex money laundering system designed to support the drugs trade. Then you can pay virtually no taxes and complain about how awful you think the whole country is, knowing you're doing as little as possible to help.
Cool, thanks. That's good advice.
I'm appalled at you, Mary Phillips.
Ugh, why?
Because that man has a garden full of corpses and you're talking about money laundering.
Yes, it's a great opportunity for some profit-centric thinking.
You missed a wonderful opportunity to talk about recycling and organ donation.
Oh, God, give me strength. I married a fool.
I married a fool.
To move us along. That starts with the United Nations. It starts right here in this room. In my address to this body last year, I announced the United States will support expanding the Security Council, increasing the number of permanent and non-permanent members. The United States has undertaken serious consultation with many member states. We'll continue to do our part to push more reform efforts forward, look for points of common ground, and make progress in the year ahead. We need to be able to break the gridlock that too often stymies progress and blocks consensus on the Council. We need more voices, more perspectives at the table. The United Nations must continue to preserve peace, prevent conflict, and alleviate human suffering. And we embrace nations stepping up to lead in new ways and to seek new breakthroughs on hard issues. For example, on Haiti, the Caribbean community is facilitating a dialogue among Haitian society. I thank President Ruto of Kenya, I thank him for his willingness to serve as the lead nation of a UN-backed security support mission. I call on the Security Council to authorize this mission now. The people of Haiti cannot wait much longer. The United States is working across the board to make global institutions more responsive, more effective, and more inclusive. For example, we've taken significant steps to reform and scale up the World Bank, expanding its financing to low and middle-income countries so it can help boost progress toward meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and better address interconnected challenges like climate change and fragility. Under the new president of the World Bank, change is already taking root. Last month, I asked the United States Congress for additional funds to expand World Bank financing by $25 billion. And the G20, we rallied the major economies of the world to mobilize even more funding. Collectively, we can deliver a transformational boost to World Bank lending. And because the multilateral development banks are among the best tools we have for mobilizing transparent, high-quality investment in developing countries, reforming these institutions can be a game changer. Similarly, we proposed making sure developing countries have a strong voice and representation at the International Monetary Fund. We're going to continue our efforts to reform the World Trade Organization, preserve competition, openness, transparency, and the rule of law, while at the same time equipping it to better tackle modern-day imperatives like driving the clean energy transition, protecting workers,
as much as I hate
promoting
violence,
inclusive and sustainable growth. And this
families
month,
for life, homie, you down?
we strengthened the G20 as a vital forum, welcoming the African Union as a permanent member. By upgrading and strengthening our institutions, that's only half of the picture. We must also forge new partnerships, confront new challenges. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence hold both enormous potential and enormous peril. We need to be sure they are used as tools of opportunity, not as weapons of oppression. Together with leaders around the world, the United States is working to strengthen rules and policies so AI technologies are safe before they're released to the public. To make sure we govern this technology, not the other way around, having it govern us.
What a crazy year it's been. Let's recap. Drug scandals involving preschool soccer moms. Woo! And the national finals, rich and popular people are fighting it out. Pay attention. The country is in mourning. And most importantly, sportswear. We talked to a fitness expert about the crucial role of endorsed clothing. And who could forget?
And I'm committed to working through this institution and other international bodies and directly with leaders around the world, including our competitors, to ensure we harness the power of artificial intelligence for good while protecting our citizens from its most profound risk. It's going to take all of us. I've been working on this for a while, as many of you have. It's going to take all of us to get this right. In every region of the world, the United States is mobilizing strong alliances, versatile partnerships, common purpose, collective action to bring new approaches to our shared challenges. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we united 21 nations in support of the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection, launching a region-wide approach to a region-wide challenge to better uphold laws and protect protect the rights of migrants. In the Indo-Pacific, we've elevated our Quad partnership with India, Japan, and Australia to deliver concrete progress for the people of the region on everything from vaccines to maritime security. Just yesterday, after 2 consultations and diplomacy, the United States brought together dozens of nations across 4 continents to establish a new partnership for Atlantic cooperation so that the coastal Atlantic countries can better cooperate on science, technology, environmental protection, and sustainable economic development. We brought together nearly 100 countries in a global coalition to counter fentanyl and synthetic drugs to reduce the human cost of this affliction, and it is real. And as the nature of the terrorist threats evolve and the geography expands to new places, we're working with our partners to bring capabilities to bear to disrupt plotting, degrade networks, and protect all of our people. Additionally, we convene the Summit for Democracy to strengthen democratic institutions, root out.
I had a wife so she could beat me.
Here's what I say, man. If you want to be number one, you gotta go.
Out corruption and reject political violence. And in this moment where democratically elected governments have been toppled in quick succession in West and Central Africa, we're reminded that this work is as urgent and important as ever. We stand with the African Union and other regional bodies to support constitutional rule. We will not retreat from the values that make us strong. We will defend democracy, our best tool to meet the challenges we face around the world. And we're working to show how democracy can deliver in ways that matter to people's lives. The Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment addresses the enormous need and opportunity for infrastructure investment in low and middle income countries, particularly in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Through strategic, targeted public investments, we can unlock enormous amounts of private sector financing. The G7 has pledged to work with parties to collectively mobilize $600 billion in infrastructure financing by 2027. The United States has already mobilized more than $30 billion to date. We're creating a race to the top with projects that have high standards for workers, the environment, and intellectual property while avoiding the trap of unsustainable debt. We're focusing on economic corridors that will maximize.
Stay out of the way.
Now tell me, the fight game, that ain't rigged, is it?
Of course not. Hey, how could anything professional be fake? Hey, there's too much money at stake for one thing. I mean, these guys got too much to lose. I mean, why is the guy gonna take a dive for a few extra million when he could earn that over a number of years getting his brain turned to pulp? Be serious for a minute. The clock is counting down again. It's time for Derek to head to the locker room and celebrate in the shower. We'll see you next time. Bring a cooler full of beers and get ready to riot. This has been the Tight End Zone.
And this is WCTR, proving that radio is better than TV. That's the show made with large guts love.
The news and all the other things that really matter to you, like people dying,
Lady on fire, bodies everywhere,
and explosions.
Is hanging from the trees. This accident is real.
As the impact of our collective investment and deliver consequential results across multiple countries and multiple sectors. For example, the Libido Corridor will extend across Africa from the western port of Angola to the DRC to Zambia, boosting regional connectivity and strengthening commerce and food security in Africa. Similarly,
Hey, watch where you're going,
groundbreaking effort we announced at the G20 connect India to Europe
what's up?
through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel will spur opportunities and investment across 2 continents. This is part of our effort to build a more sustainable, integrated Middle East. It demonstrates how Israel's greater normalization and economic connection with its neighbors is delivering positive and practical impacts, even as we continue to work tirelessly to support a just and lasting peace between the Israelis and Palestinians, 2 states for 2 people. Now, let me be clear. None of these partnerships are about containing any country. They're about a
I'm gonna put in
positive
some
vision
work. You down?
for our shared future. When it comes to China, I want to be clear and consistent. We seek to responsibly manage the competition between our countries so it does not tip into conflict. I've said...
Traveler, we're discussing the world and all of its many pleasures. Let me put it like this. Why have a hot dog from an uncaring vendor by the bathroom when you can attend a beer-guzzling marathon in Germany with enormous men and taste a wonderful German's wuss? The world is full of incredible things, and you can discover them for yourself. Come along, I'll take you there. It was dusk, and the sun bled red over the city in Thailand as Chen brought me a sparkling water. A handsome, lovely young boy, a world of possibilities. But war is folly, and we can only unite by visiting these epochs of culture, where a man can be himself, smoke cigarettes, dress in gladiator clothing if he likes. We mustn't force our way and culture upon other people's. Rather, breathe it in, become part of it. Maybe Hemingway was right about love. Maybe Freud was. We're all fighting inside to let a wild creature mate in the rain. I travel, therefore I am. This is a show that embraces culture from around the world. Let's take our first caller. Hello.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about Australia. And you're right, the moon is shit. Also, thinking of visiting Colombia. Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, yes, fantastic forms of recreation to be had in Colombia. It's a blizzard of it.
I'm gonna get me a monster truck.
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, Uy! Yum Burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum!
Better chicken hotdog, much malaki, much malaki. Better chicken hotdog, much juicier, much crispier. So we love so much malaki. Better chicken hotdog.
Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Na, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
We are for de-risking, not decoupling with China. We will push back on aggression and intimidation and defend the rules of the road, from freedom of navigation to overflight to level economic playing field that have helped safeguard security and prosperity for decades. But we also stand ready to work together with China on issues where progress hinges on our common efforts. Nowhere is that more critical than accelerating the climate crisis, than the accelerating climate crisis. We see it everywhere. Record-breaking heat waves in the United States and China. Wildfire.
Wear tight suit and nail a lot of tail.
Come on, dude, roll with me. You gonna represent the set now, homie?
I love
I'm gonna put in some work. You down?
incident, but we plan mostly to gloss over the implications and hope you enjoy some sporting activity tonight. The State Department is advising against foreign travel. This was Leanne Forget, WCTR News. Let's be careful out there.
Talk is cheap, especially on this station. Featuring more rich, angry people complaining. WCTR.
Look at that! The Hendersons are getting a new fence.
Ah, who cares? They're swingers.
I want a new fence.
We just got one 2 years ago after your parents were killed.
I want a new fence. That's it. We're never having sex again.
Need a home loan fast? At the American Bank of Los Santos, we'll help you get the debt you need to make life easier. We'll show you how to look richer and be poorer. Your home is your equity. What exactly are you saving it for? You need to impress people fast, not in 20 years. It's only a risk if you get into money troubles or the economy changes, which doesn't seem likely. We know living in the suburbs is a constant competition, where you're
ravaging North America and Southern Europe. A fifth year of drought in the Horn of Africa. Tragic flooding in Libya. My heart goes out to the people of Libya. That's killed thousands of people. Together, these snapshots tell an urgent story of what awaits us if we fail to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and begin to climate-proof the world. For one day, my administration, the United States, has treated this crisis as an existential threat from the moment we took office. Not only for us, but for all of humanity. Last year, I signed into law in the United States the largest investment ever anywhere in the history of the world to combat the climate crisis and help move the global economy toward a clean energy future. We're also working with the Congress to quadruple our climate financing, to help developing countries reach their climate goals and adapt to climate impact. And this year, the world's on track to meet the climate finance pledge that made under the Paris Agreement, $100 billion to raise collectively. But we need more investment from public and private sector alike, especially in places that have contributed so little to global emissions, but face some of the worst effects of climate change, like the Pacific Islands. The United States is working directly with the Pacific Island Forum to help these nations adapt, build resilience to the climate impact, even as we lead the effort to build innovative new partnerships that attack the global challenges from all sides. From the First Movers Coalition, which is mobilizing billions of private sector community and private sector commitments, to creating a market demand for green products in carbon-intense sectors like concrete, shipping, aviation, and trucking, to the Agricultural Innovation Mission for Climate, which is bringing farmers into the climate solution and making our food supply more resilient to climate shocks, and the Global Methane Pledge, now endorsed by more than 150 countries, which expands our focus beyond our carbon emission targets to reduce the potential greenhouse gases in our atmosphere by 30% in this decade. It's all within our capacity. We need to bring the same commitment and urgency and ambition as we work together to meet the Sustainable Development Goals.
Titanium. The sound of it gives me a redwood in
2030. These goals
protrusion as he pollinates on everyone.
But why does it sting so bad?
It's about marking your territory, my man. You don't mark your territory, do you? You should try it. Pee on the front door of your office. Just see if anybody thinks of coming near you.
Okay, I would try that. Thank you so much for the advice, Maurice.
Oh, I'm here to help, sailor.
Gardening.
Were adopted at the United Nations in 2015 as a roadmap for improving lives around the world. But the hard truth is, for decades of progress, the world has lost ground these past years in the wake of COVID-19, conflicts, and other crises. The United States is committing to doing its part to get us back on track. All told, in the first 2 years of my administration, the United States has invested more than $100 billion to to drive development progress in bolstering food security, expanding access to education worldwide, strengthening healthcare systems, and fighting disease. And we've helped mobilize billions more in the private sector investments. But to accelerate our forward progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, we all have to do more. We need to build new partnerships that change the way we tackle this challenge, to unlock trillions of additional financing for development, drawing on all
For the grove, dude. We gotta put work in.
sources. We need to fill the gaps and address the failures of our existing system exposed by the pandemic. We need to ensure that women and girls benefit fully from our progress. We must also do more to grapple with the debt that holds back so many
A wild creature mate in the rain. I travel, therefore I am. This is a show that embraces culture from around the world. Let's take our first caller. Hello?
Yeah, I totally agree with you about Australia. And you're right, the moon is shit. Also, I was thinking of visiting Colombia. Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, yes, fantastic forms of recreation to be had in Colombia. It's a blizzard of excitement. And cheap. The rails are great. And long. Bolivia's not bad either. Or Peru. You'll be surprised to find out how the party never stops.
How's the food?
Well, a lighter is the most you need to cook up food. But there's scarcely time to eat, my boy. You'll meet fascinating people, feel so comfortable you'll rip your clothes off and howl for days. Next caller.
Yeah, hi. My name's Geraldine, calling from Kansas City. This is such a great country. Why would you go anywhere else? It's unpatriotic.
Let's see what you got, pussy.
Look at me, what are you thinking?
Income countries. When nations are forced to service unsustainable debt payments over the needs of their own people, it makes it harder for them to invest in their own futures. And as we work together to recover from global shocks, the United States will also continue to be the largest single community donor, country donor of humanitarian assistance at this moment of unparalleled need in the world. Folks, cooperation, partnership. These are the keys to progress and the challenges that affect us all, and the baseline for responsible global leadership.
You're about to learn.
We don't need to agree on everything. Keep moving forward on issues like arms control, cornerstone of international security. After more than 50 years of progress under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, Russia is shredding long-standing arms control agreements, including announcing the suspension of the New START and withdrawing from the Conventional Forces of Europe Treaty. I view it as irresponsible and makes the entire world less safe. The United States will continue to pursue good faith efforts to reduce the threat of weapons of mass destruction and lead by example, no matter what else is happening in Europe. This year, we safely destroyed at least the last chemical munitions in the U.S. stockpile, fulfilling our commitment toward a world free of chemical weapons. And we condemn the DPRK's continued violation of UN Security Council resolutions, but we are committed to diplomacy to bring about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We're working with our partners to address
the GTA San Andreas DJ Soccer Baliuag Procession movie schedule.
February 29th, Military Philippines, 9 p.m.
Oh, whatever. Life is great! Stop ruining it! Next caller.
Hey, the
FBI wants to talk to me about a
February
perfectly
29th.
innocent collection of vacation photographs overseas that I had no idea were being taken. I mean, any ignorant fool can misinterpret. I was teaching them how to swim.
I have a lot of experience with this. I want you to stop for a moment and let me read whatever my travel
Life is great!
I think everyone's
ruining
enjoyed
it!
all the next pictures.
Sometimes
about a perfectly innocent collection of few pennies in their local currency and they will fall.
I mean, any ignorant school getting this new vertebrate. I was teaching them how to swim.
I have not experience with this. I want you to stop for a moment and let me read whatever my travel is.
But it's wrong, don't
Sometimes you may a few pennies of their local currency and they will fall.
That's wrong, homie. Fam.
I was teaching them how to swim.
I have not experience with this. I want you to stop for a
The
moment.
GTA San Andreas DJ.
But it's wrong, don't.
Today on the show, cave paintings in museums make us violent.
The anti-beef movement. Both Hitler and Mussolini were vegetarian.
And we take on the highly charged debate about test tube babies and actually talk to us.
The Baliuag Procession with GTA San Andreas DJ.
You know what it's like growing up in a beaker?
That's all today on I Say You Say.
Today on the show, cave paintings in museums make us violent.
We shall anti-beef movement. I'm Fivem, my wife Mary, and this is I
And we
Say
take on the
You Say.
highly charged debate about test tube babies and actually talk to us. Or
You know what it's like growing
I don't know if you saw today's news, so who is in the right in this great dialectical disaster? Is it, as I think, a case of share and share alike, love your fellow man and all wear matching jumpsuits while working on a collective farm growing potatoes? Or kill or be killed, crush the weak, and starve the poor, as my wonderful wife thinks. You decide, or let us decide for you. Give us a call, and let my wife, a professor in social Darwinism, or me, a lecturer in pointless anthropology, work things out.
That's the problem with liberals. They don't know when to shut up and enjoy freedom. Let's go to the phones.
Yeah, hi. Here's the deal. I'm really funny, but nobody wants to hire somebody funny. I mean, how is that fair? I mean, I'm white, middle class, very erudite, you know, whatever that means, but people just respond badly to me. I don't understand it.
Are you related to my husband?
I don't think so.
I hope not. Have you got a question about politics?
Yeah, sure. I know a lot about politics. Hey, can I do your job? You know, I used to be on the radio back in the day.
Even my husband can't do his job, you strange, pathetic little sap. Let's have a real caller, please.
Hi, my name's Michelle. I'm a first-time caller to the show. I wanted to know what you guys thought about the proposition to ban smoking.
Well, this is a simple issue. Smoking. Democracy at work again in our state. Seems like a good thing when you first look at it, but democracy only works when you agree with it. Then it's best to favor a totalitarian state. I'm not sure about this one.
I think smoking is an invasion of my body, and I've always wanted to shoot people. I'm right behind the proposition.
Me too. Thanks, Michelle.
I also wanted to say hi to my stepbrother, Phil, who's been undergoing a hair transplant today. Hey, Phil, if you're listening, I hope it sticks this time. I won't tell anyone you've got plugs, honey. I'm really proud of you.
That's great, honey. But if you want shout-outs, call the rap station.
That's offensive, and I'm really offended by what you're saying. I'm a smoker. This used to be a free country.
When?
Ha! Good point, darling. Gotcha. Yes, good point. But remember, our founding fathers used tobacco. It relaxed them between stressful stints of genocide and witch burning. And you're so against raising taxes, smokers pay more taxes than anyone. My grandfather smoked his whole life, and he lived until he was 32. So what I'm saying is, why can't we encourage more smoking and use the money to pay for better health care and some cultural programs, bringing expressive dance and sun worship back to the inner cities?
Worrying about the inner city has ruined your academic career, and this woolly thinking is going to ruin your chances of getting anywhere with me tonight.
Promise?
The thing is, smoking is good because it lets people make a lot of money, but so is selectively culling the population. So what I'm proposing is a change in the proposition. Let people smoke, but make cigarettes much cheaper and force everyone to smoke. That way we weed out the weak, make a...
The GTA San Andreas DJ saw the Baliuag Procession movie schedule.
February 29th, Military Philippines, 9 p.m.
March 1st, Abraham Lincoln, 9 p.m.
March 8th, Neymar Jr., 9:30 p.m.
March 15th, So Tired and Wakey Tolchana Funk, 9 p.m. of Cartoon Network.
March 19th, Selena Quintanilla, 8 p.m.
March 24th, Jerusalem, Israel Seed Baliuag live stream, 9 p.m. RPTV.
Baliuag Procession see Holy Week, February 29th to March 24th, 2024. Up next, Military Philippines, 9 p.m. The GTA San Andreas CJ sa Baliuag Procession movie schedule.
February 14th, Ash Wednesday, 10:30 p.m.
February 15th, Valentine Day, 8 p.m. live streaming GTV.
February 16th, Hamas versus Israel, 10 p.m.
February 23rd, Queen and 9 p.m.
February 29th, Military Philippines, 9 p.m.
March 1st, Abraham Lincoln, 9:30 p.m.
March 8th, Neymar Jr., 9:30 p.m.
March 15th, So Tired and Wakey Tolchanov, 8:30 p.m.
March 21st, Selena Quintanilla, 9:30 p.m.
March 24th, Jerusalem, Israel C. Baliuag live stream 9 p.m. RPTV.
Baliuag Procession C Holy Week February 14th to March 24th, 2024. The GTA San Andreas CJSA Baliuag Procession Movies 2024. The GTA San Andreas CJSA Baliuag
And on that note, we have to go visit our marriage therapist. There was a conniving bitch and won't write me any more prescriptions for painkillers. Remember, when the left wing and the right wing come together, the country can really get going.
Straight off a cliff. We'll see you next time.
Boy, I can't imagine what those guys are like in the bedroom, but I'm sure it's a bit like the Bay of Pigs. That was I Say, You Say.
Opinions are free, which is why we're here. It's news and talk that our sponsors agree on. WCTR.
I love my husband more than anything.
Which is why I was surprised to find her sleeping with the teenager next door.
Now I take each day one day at a time. I didn't know what I had till it was almost gone. Now I'm faithful and haven't terminated a pregnancy in over a year. I stopped obsessing about my weight. Now there's just more of me to love.
I'm gonna put in some work.
Never
You down?
acquire.
You wanna roll with me?
Now,
Yeah, I'm
always
down. What are we gonna do? You gonna represent the set now, homie?
Create a new partnership.
Well, let's make
Let
it
me be
happen
clear.
then, dude. Roll with me. I'm in.
Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct. Sovereignty, territorial integrity, human
Where's
rights.
after all? Until
These
next
are the
time.
core tenets of the
I hope you enjoyed Lonely Hearts. It's always fun to laugh at other people's misery, isn't it? Up next on WCTR, it's The Man Coaches Hate. It's Derek Thackeray in the tight end zone. Brought to you by Eris Pump Up Shoes. Because women love a winner, and winners wear shoes.
Should we, start with the national anthem? Yeah, screw it. Yeah, I got too drunk last night. Just, play the opening music. Put one, put two. Welcome back to the tight end zone. Now it's...
Na, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, Uy! Yum Burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum!
Better chicken hotdog, much malaki, much malaki. Better chicken hotdog, much juicier, much crispier. So it love so much malaki. Better chicken hotdog.
Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
For the Grove, dude. We gotta put work in.
UN Charter.
We gonna roll, homie, or what?
Peaceful relations
Families
among
for life,
nations,
homie. You down?
without which you cannot
You gonna
achieve
represent the
any
set
of our
now,
goals.
homie?
That has not changed. And that must not change. Yet, for the second year in a row,
We're in the desert.
A new planet found in space. Is it really a planet or a decoy put up to confuse us? Ghosts, time travel, and the flushing toilet. Which way did Newton's toilet spiral? And finally, are women made from sand? We explore deeper and get to the truth. I'm Marvin Trill. This is Area 53. Hello. You're on the line.
Yeah, hi. I'm a truck driver and listen to your show all the time. I see a lot of unexplained phenomena out there, especially in restrooms. I agree with you about the moon. We never landed on the moon. It's such a good fake.
Remember, the Russians, our archenemy still, I might add, them and the Australians and some species of dog, they beat us.
gathering dedicated to peaceful resolution of conflicts is darkened by the shadow of war. An illegal war of conquest brought without provocation by Russia against its neighbor Ukraine. Like every nation in the world, the United States wants this war to end.
What do you think?
No nation wants this war to end more than Ukraine. And we strongly support Ukraine in its efforts to bring about diplomatic resolution that delivers just and lasting peace. Russia alone bears responsibility for this war. Russia alone has the power to end this war immediately. And it's Russia alone that stands in the way of peace, because Russia's price for peace is Ukraine's capitulation, Ukraine's territory, and Ukraine's children. Russia believes that the world will grow weary and allow it to brutalize Ukraine without consequence. But I ask you this: if we abandon the core principles of the United States to appease an aggressor, then any member state in this body feel confident that they are protected. If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, the independence of any nation secure. I respectfully suggest the answer is no.
Last night,
You have to
as I was
stand up
laying in
and
my
take
pod
aggression
meditating,
today.
and it occurred to me, why are you even listening to me? Turn off all
That's why
electrical
the United
devices,
States,
including
together with
your
our allies
radio.
and partners
Hector
around
and
the
San
world,
Garcia,
will
why
continue to stand with the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereignty and territorial integrity and their freedom.
Now think about the things we talked about. Think, seriously think. Can it be real? Can it be false? We'll see you next time in Area 50.
It's not only an investment in Ukraine's future, but in the future of every country.
To make it
It
interesting
seeks
and
a
not
world
depressing.
governed by basic rules that apply equally to all nations.
This is Leanne Forget, WCTR News. Foreigners are coming. Who are they and why should we care? The FDA... Plus, protests continue outside the Zebra Bar Candy Company. Now for traffic and transit with Richard Burns.
That's right, Leanne. I'm Richard Burns. The aftermath of the devastating earthquake continues. Travel is still severely restricted statewide. Officials say there are still no reported casualties, which is truly unfortunate as it makes for incredibly boring news. The federal government is still refusing aid to help rebuild bridges, and everyone is blaming each other. The governor is threatening to bomb Australia, despite scientific proof it wasn't their fault. Richard Burns, WCTR.
Police say gang trouble is on the rise again, especially in Los Santos. Sources believe it is linked to the rising drugs trade, while others blame the fascist pigs. Also,
Love you. Thank you very much. What a group standing right next to me. I'm honored to have.
The thing about Mad Dog is, I'm thinking about becoming a superstar. I mean, you know, I've done everything I could do in the rap game. I won shit hands down. Nobody can handle me, you know? Lifetime champ, no shit. I say shit.
Oh, hey man, it's cool.
That's cool. Okay, no shit. I got clothes. I got labels coming out, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing drinks. I got shoes, tires, rims. Thinking, you know, next stage is being a full-on superstar, you know? Get to wear a tight suit, nail a lot of tail, you dig? You know what I do in real life? You gotta give me a drink, though, right now. Thirsty. you know.
What a troubled man. Sounds like he should lay off the sauce. Also today, a Tourette's theater group banned from the park, unless they take up mine. And finally, in foreign news, a suspected U.S. agent was caught in Panama selling weaponry to right-wing guerrillas, causing a major incident. But we plan mostly to gloss over the implications and hope you enjoy some sporting activity tonight. The FDA warns shampoo is killing your unborn child. Plus, protests continue outside the Zebra Bar Candy Company. Now for traffic and transit with Richard Burns.
That's right, Leanne. I'm Richard Burns. The aftermath of the devastating earthquake continues. Travel is still severely restricted statewide. Officials say there are still no reported casualties, which is truly unfortunate as it makes for incredibly boring news. The federal government is still refusing aid to help rebuild bridges, and everyone is blaming each other. The governor is threatening to bomb Australia, despite scientific proof it wasn't their fault. Richard Burns, WCTR.
Police say gang trouble is on the rise again, especially in Los Santos. Sources believe it is linked to the rising drugs trade, while others blame the fascist pigs. Also in gang news, customs officials report a huge influx of Russian mobsters and cheap weapons since the fall of the wall. The governor's office said everything is okay. In Vinewood news, rapper Mad Dog was celebrating the launch of his new clothing line. Richard caught up with him.
The thing about Mad Dog is, I'm thinking about becoming a superstar. I mean, you know, I've done everything I could do in the rap game. I want shit.
Have you all with me, Ben? I've only known you, I don't want to say how long, it's too long. But you have done some job. I'm very proud to be with the 5 gentlemen up here. Very special, and we have a lot of special ladies and gentlemen in the audience that are my friends, and they have been for a long time. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Crooked Joe.
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, uy! Yum Burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum!
Better chicken hotdog, much malaki, much malaki. Better chicken hotdog, much juicier, much crispier. So it knows how much malaki. Better chicken hotdog.
Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Carry Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Carry Noodles!
Nak, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
Joe Biden's absolutely worst nightmare. Hundreds of proud, black, conservative American patriots. The worst nightmare. Together we're part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. It is the greatest movement, I think, without question, in the history of our country. And it's done great things, and then we had a little interruption. But the interruption's not going to last much longer. And we're going to have a tremendous victory. It's going to be even, I believe, greater and probably more important even than in 2016. That was now number 1, but I think this is going to be something very, very special. Over the past 8 years, we've energized the Republican Party, and we've expanded the Republican Party. You and I have made it bigger, better, and so much more interesting than ever before, and much more important than ever before. In 2020, we increased our share of black vote by 50%, 5-0. And we earned more votes from African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans than any Republican in generations. This hasn't been, you go back many, many decades, and we're really honored by it. We're on track now to smash. You see what's happening. The polling is coming out, and they go, wait a minute, there must be a mistake here. They're saying black people really like Trump. There must be a mistake. These guys know it's no mistake. They're saying, what's going on? We had one today, 28%. We had one at 31%. And, I hate to say, when I looked at Romney, does anybody know Romney? Didn't he get 4%? He got 4% and falling. And we're at a number that people are,
Come on,
frankly,
let's go.
if we were
Let's go.
28%, I don't even think we have to do the election. They would just, I think wouldn't they just sort of leave? They would leave. They'd just say, let's get out of town. Well, the getting is good because we're going to do great things for everybody, for all Americans. As one sign of just how great a job we've done, there are more black Republicans serving in the U.S. House of Representatives today than at any time since the 1870s. That's a long time ago. To me, that's a sign of progress, but the radical left Democrats in a cause, and it's a cause for panic for them. It's a nightmare, hysteria, and rampant outbreaks. They're suffering from a terminal case of Trump derangement syndrome. Have you all heard? They have Trump derangement. They are really not doing well. And they shouldn't be doing well because, honestly, they've done a lousy job for you. They've done a lousy job for you. They've done a lousy job for everybody. But for black Americans, they have done a very poor job. Every day, we are welcoming more black voters back home to the Republican Party. You remember the Party of Lincoln, to help us reclaim the party of Frederick Douglass, party of Abraham Lincoln and other great people. We're delighted to have some of our party's most prominent leaders with us tonight, and they are really incredible leaders with incredible futures. And some of them, like Byron Donalds, is so young. Wesley Hunt is so young. You guys are so young. Oh, I'd like to get a couple of years from them. They're young and they're brilliant and they have an incredible future. They really do. I think they have an incredible future. Senator Tim Scott, he gave me his endorsement. He's been one of the best people we've ever had involved with us. He's been unbelievable. He's a dynamo. And I heard what he said to you. He gave a speech today at Rock Hill. He tore the house down. He's better for me than he is for himself. You know that? Right? You know why? He's a good person. I don't mind speaking about myself. He doesn't like speaking about himself. He likes speaking about people that he thinks can do a great job. He's a special man. Where is Tim, by the way? Is he around here someplace? Because he was just back there. He's a very, very special guy. And another special man is Secretary Ben Carson. And, we were running. Can I tell him our little statement that you made to me in a church one day? Actually, you made it twice. You made it in a church and you made it just before a debate. But we're running, and he was doing very well, by the way. He was knocking them dead. Everyone loved him. He was tremendous religious support, evangelical support in particular. And he was going up, and I was up there. I came out, and I was doing really well. And I started to get a little bit nervous about Ben. He was going up a little too fast. I was not. And he said to me, you have nothing to worry about. God put you in this position. You're going to win. I was running against him. He's the most competitive guy. But he said, you're going to win. God put you in this position. And I was confused because I'm ready to go into a debate stage. And he's doing so good, and he made that statement, and I always remembered that. And then he made a similar statement at the church, and he's been a great friend of mine. He did a great job. No scandal. Remember, he was at HUD. Everybody at HUD has scandal. They get a little money for an apartment house approval someplace. No scandal whatsoever. HUD, you go check out HUD. Housing, urban development, you check it out. There's been a lot of problems over the years. There was nothing. He just ran a great operation with some very good people you had. You were right about all those people, and they were great. Thank you, Ben, very much. We appreciate the job you've done. And thanks also to Black Conservative Federation founders Deontay Johnson and Quentin Jordan. Fantastic people. Congressman Joe Wilson, famous for a remark he made years ago Nobody will ever forget it, and we love this guy. He loves our country. A woman that I've known for a long time. I refuse to say how long, but I've known her for a long time, and she's really incredible. And she was very advanced. I mean, she understood what was happening long before most of the people in the room really did. Alvida King, where is Alvida? Where is she? Thank you, Alvida. You really were. You know, you were a pioneer in the Republican Party, so to speak. She understood what was going on. Vice Chair of the California GOP, Corinne Rankin. Thank you very much, Corinne. Thank you very much. Great job. She's another one going places. A lot of people are going places in this room. Vice Chair of the Maryland GOP, Nicole Bennett. Thanks, Nicole. Great job you're doing, too. A friend of mine, somewhat controversial, but smart as hell. Vernon Jones. Where's Vernon? He's not even... Are you controversial, Vernon? No. Scott Turner. He did a fantastic job in the administration. Scott. Jack Brewer. These are great names that have done incredible work. Duke Tanner. Thank you, Duke. And I granted clemency, a pardon to Duke, and he's gone on to do fantastic things. It's interesting. I can endorse a person, and sometimes they're grateful and sometimes they're not. I mean, I endorsed a few people that you probably read about. They weren't so grateful, were they? Huh? What do you think? And not too much. They weren't too grateful to me, right? And they said, will you run against the president? And he said, I have no comment. That wasn't good. That meant yes. But I did. I endorsed a few people that weren't very grateful. But the one thing, when I gave pardons to people, every single person, I mean, I've never seen, when they see me, they cry. It's such an incredible power of the president. And people that I felt were unfairly convicted of something, or maybe it was too long. We had a woman, a wonderful woman. We all know who that is. I won't even mention names. She was given 50 years in jail. 50. She served 22, 23. And she had like 25 years left. I said, for what? And today it would be, they wouldn't, it would be a reprimand, what she did. And it was so sad to see that. I let her out. I let a lot of people out, a lot of great people. But I've never had anybody with a pardon. The endorsements, mostly good, but 10% of them just really are not very appreciative. I wish I had them to do again. I would never give them. I would never give them. I'll tell you that much right now. The hell with those people. But when I pardon somebody, I've never had anybody get out and said, I don't.
Kahit hindi mo nakikita,
My Yum Burger!
dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit isang kagat lang, Uy! Yum Burger! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Kahit maraming pagpipilian, Yum Burger ko to! Dahil beefiest, alam mo yum! Choose only the beefiest. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo yum!
Better chicken hotdog, much malaki, much malaki. Better chicken hotdog, much juicier, much crispier. So it helps so much malaki. Better chicken hotdog.
Wanna get carried away? New Maggie Caddy Noodles! Kakaibouncy noodles na di malapsa! Tikman ang kakaibang anghang kari-sana! Get carried away! New Maggie Caddy Noodles!
Nak, gaano ba kita kamahal?
Ganito, kasi lagi mo pinipili paborito ko.
Love ng kids ang taste ng Eden. May milk vitamins at calcium pa. Di tinitipid ang pagmamahal.
I don't like him. I never liked him. I'd like to run against him. I'd like to do. They see me and they literally start to cry. People with records and people that had some big problems, and they're cleaner than anybody else in the room. When you give a pardon, they're expunged of everything. They're the cleanest people. I often say, this guy who had a rough life is cleaner than anybody else in the room. All dilettantes, right? They say the cleanest. But it's something that I really appreciate. So we appreciate some of the people that I gave pardons to are in this room, and we all know who you are. I know who you are, and it was my honor. It was my honor. A man who I really like, and he's a hell of a pastor, I can tell you that, Pastor Mark Burns. Mark, where are you? Where's Mark Burns? He's a great guy. Good. These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones, you see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These lights. We've come a long way together. Lynn Patton, she's been incredible. Lynn Patton. And tonight's honorees, so deserving, Mary Milben and C.J. Pearson. So Mary and C.J., congratulations. That's unbelievable. With the help of many of you in this room, we are going to win the South Carolina primary tomorrow night. Hey, this is exciting. Stick around. We'll all get together, okay? And this November, we're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. He's a crooked, corrupt, horribly incompetent president who's destroying our country. Other than that, I think he's quite a nice man. No, you know, it's funny. I was talking this day. We had a big rally. We could have filled that arena. It's a 8,000-seat arena. We could have filled that thing 3 times. And I said to the people, I didn't say this often, but I said, look, here's a story. I always respected the office of the president and the presidency so much, and I would never hit Biden very hard. But then he indicted me. He indicted me. I said, I can't believe it. I got indicted. I got impeached, and we won them, thanks to these couple of guys back here. But I got impeached, and Ben was helpful, too, I will tell you. But I got impeached. That was a terrible thing. Should never happen. And it turned out I was right in the impeachment. The phone call turned out to be exactly right. They found the laptop from hell. It confirmed everything that I said. They actually go around now saying, you know, we shouldn't have impeached that guy. He was absolutely right. But we beat him twice. But I got indicted for nothing, for something that is nothing. They were doing it because it's election interference. And then I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. It's been pretty amazing. But it possibly, I don't know, maybe there's something there. But I got also sued, and a lot of it comes right out. All of it comes out of the Justice Department, or it comes out of the Democrat Party. And it's a disgrace. This is like a third world country. And I say often, Alphonse Capone, I don't know if you know who Alphonse Capone is. This was the roughest, meanest gangster in history. I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone, Scarface. If he had dinner with you and if he didn't like the tone of your voice, he would kill you that night. You would never see your family again. You were dead. I got indicted. My parents are looking down, say, how the hell did this happen to my son? I never heard the word practically. But we're going to do something that's great for our country. We're going to make America great again for everybody, but we're going to make America great again also. And I'm not sure I can say necessarily again in this case for African Americans. We're going to make America great for all of our country, but for African Americans. And maybe we have to leave the word again out. You understand what I mean? Because maybe there is no again. We're going to make it great for you and great for everybody, and that's important. Our country's gone through hell, and in many cases, our country is in hell right now, and we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast for everybody, and I think you're going to be very happy. A big start tomorrow. We won, as you know, Iowa in a landslide. We won it by twice the record. We had the biggest margin ever times 2. That's not bad. We did a number nobody thought, and in all cases, it's been higher than our expectations or anybody's expectation. We went to, as you know, New Hampshire, and we got more votes than anybody in the history of the New Hampshire primary. Then we went to Virgin Islands and Nevada. In Virgin Islands, we won all of the delegates. In Nevada, we only got 99.7%. We won. So that's 4. And I heard Nikki today. Nikki, wonderful. I will never run against our president. He was a great president. Don't forget, she worked for me. But a lot of people don't realize I actually moved to there because I wanted to get Henry the governorship, if you want to know the truth. That was very important. And he's been a great governor. And Peggy, they've been a great couple. But that was it was a big factor. I said, well, if I move her over, she'll probably be okay, but we'll get a great governor for a state that I love. I've always won here. I won the primaries and I won the elections. We never had a loss here, Ben, right? We never had a loss. But so, Nikki, we're going to see how that all turns out. But we have a big deal tomorrow. And it's so important that everybody get out and vote because we want to win by big margins because the big day is November 5th. And we have to send a signal that we're coming. We have to send a signal. Our message to the black community in this election will be a very simple one. If you want strong borders, safe neighborhoods, rising wages, good jobs, great education, and the return of the American dream, then congratulations, you are a Republican. It's pretty simple. Joe Biden and the radical left have abandoned everything black Americans care about. They've really let you down. Look, we all understand it. They've thrown black Americans overboard, and it's been not a pretty thing to watch. You take a look at some of these inner cities, but I and the Republican Party will fight for the black community like you have never had anybody fight for you before. And with me, you will never be taken for granted. You will never be taken for granted. They've taken you for granted. Do you ever notice they always come around about 2 months before an election? Then they get your votes, and then they go on and fight for the black community like you have never had anybody fight for you before. And with me, you will never be taken for granted. You will never be taken for granted. You know, 4 years later, they come and say hello, or 2 years, depending on what office we're talking about, but they come back and they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing until it's election time. Then they come in, they seek your vote. The future we want is one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to happen. And Joe Biden is actually, his incompetence perhaps, but Joe Biden is a threat to democracy, a real threat to democracy. They're trying to turn that around. They're trying to say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. No. When they do weaponization and when they do election interference like a third world country, they're really a threat to democracy. Under my administration, black Americans prospered like no time in the history of our country. We achieved the lowest African American unemployment rate ever recorded. That's a big stat. That's like, Babe Ruth hit the most home runs, or Barry Bonds. I don't know. Who the hell is it? What are we giving Barry Bonds? Huh? It is, I'd see. I know they put an asterisk. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but there's something awfully nice. How many home runs did he hit, Do we give it to Barry Bonds? Tell me. Do we give it to Barry Bonds or Babe Ruth? Okay, I'm okay with that. Huh? Barry? Okay, I'm with Barry. Hey. Especially tonight, I'm with Barry. I'm with Barry. In front of another group, I may be with the Babe, but I don't. But we also set record low unemployment rate among black young people. It was a record. It was never anything like it. Before the China virus, you don't mind if I call it that. We want to be accurate, It came out of China. It came out of China, right? 1.2 million African Americans lifted themselves out of poverty on the strength of the Trump economy, the most in more than a century. Think of it. It's never happened like that before. Black Americans saw their largest increase in home ownership ever recorded. These are things that happened during this 4-year period, Wesley, right? All of it. The black labor force participation rate reached its highest point in a generation. With Senator Scott, Tim Scott, came to my office. I'll never forget it. I have an idea, he said. We created opportunity zones which drove billions and billions of dollars in wealth to revitalize our most distressed communities, especially in the inner cities. I think it's the greatest economic development program maybe ever, and people don't talk about it. But that was done by Tim Scott, and then he came to see me, and we got it done. And it's been incredible. I got record funding for historically black colleges and universities. You know, the first year I saw like 45 guys come up. They're the heads of most, I think, guys, one wonderful woman, actually. They were the heads of the college.
I married a fool. You know, when we first met, Peyton, I thought you were so glamorous with your long...
Hey, stop touching me there!
And I said, so what are you doing? They said, we come up every year to ask for help, funding. And I said, all right. I didn't think much about it, but I got it for them. The second year they came up and I said, what are you doing here? Well, we're back again. I said, you have to do this every year? They said, yeah, every year we come up. We never have funding, so we always come up and ask for funding. And one of them said, I feel like a beggar.